Have you ever stopped to wonder if living alone during your later years might actually be one of the best decisions you could make for yourself? It is not something most people expect to feel positive about. In fact, when many of us imagine old age spent in solitude, we think about loneliness or silence or even fear. We picture empty homes, quiet evenings, and a lack of companionship. But what if that image is incomplete? What if living alone is not something to dread, but something that could quietly become a blessing in disguise? As we age, the world often tells us to slow down, lean on others, or move in with family. It suggests we need more help, more structure, and more company. But the truth is that living alone can give you something that is often missing in later life. It can offer you a kind of freedom that you may not have felt in years. It can bring a peaceful rhythm, a sense of control, and even a renewed purpose. Today we are going to explore 5 powerful and often hidden benefits of living alone in old age. These benefits go far beyond simple independence. They speak to your emotional well-being, your mental clarity, your personal growth, and even the way you connect with others. Whether you're currently living alone, thinking about it, or just curious about what this lifestyle could offer, this message may shift the way you think. By the end, you might see solitude not as something to avoid, but as something that can quietly empower you in ways you never expected. Let's begin with the first benefit: having complete control over your daily routine. For many older adults, this is one of the most powerful yet underrated advantages of living alone. When you share a home with others, there is always some form of compromise involved. Whether it is when to wake up, when to eat, what shows to watch, or even how to spend your weekends, there are always little adjustments. But when you live alone, all of that changes. Every decision becomes yours. Every hour is yours to shape. Imagine waking up without needing to coordinate your schedule with someone else. You choose the pace of your morning. You eat when your body feels ready, not when someone else is hungry. You take breaks when you want. You rest when you feel like it. And you create a rhythm that actually supports your natural energy. If you feel stiff in the morning, you can take your time stretching or resting. If you prefer breakfast at 10 instead of 7, there's no one to challenge that. Want a nap in the afternoon, or go for a walk after sunset? You decide. That kind of autonomy is quietly healing. It brings a deep inner calm that many people do not realize they are missing until they feel it again. Consider someone like Harold, a 74-year-old retiree who lived with a large family for most of his life. After finding himself alone for the first time, he was nervous. He expected the quiet to feel empty. But over time, something surprising happened. He rediscovered his own natural pace. He started reading in the morning again, walking whenever the mood struck, and cooking food he loved without checking with anyone else. There was no pressure to explain or justify his choices. He said he felt more in tune with himself than he had in decades. This level of freedom is not about avoiding others. It is about reclaiming your own space and time. It is about letting your home become a place that reflects your pace, your preferences, and your peace. And once you experience that, it is hard to imagine giving it up. That brings us to the second hidden benefit: emotional clarity and a sense of inner peace. When you live in a space that is quiet and truly your own, something powerful starts to happen. Your mind begins to settle. Your emotions feel less reactive. You're no longer bombarded with outside voices or moods. Instead, you get to hear your own thoughts. You get to notice how you feel without having to explain it or defend it. For many people, especially those who spent years managing family dynamics, this is an unexpected relief. Instead of reacting to others, you can finally respond to yourself. You notice what makes you happy, what stresses you, and what you truly care about. Solitude gives you room to reflect and heal. It lets old emotions rise and fade naturally. It gives you the quiet space to make decisions based on clarity rather than noise. Think of someone like Judith. She is 78 and began living alone after her husband passed away. At first, she was overwhelmed by the silence. She kept the television on all day just to fill the air. But after a few months, she began to turn it off more often. She started sitting quietly with a cup of tea in the morning, listening to the birds or writing in her journal. She said she began to feel more peaceful, more grounded, and more herself than she had in years. She called it finding her own voice again. That emotional self-care, the kind that comes without interruption or pressure, is a deeply healing part of living alone. It is not about avoiding connection, but about creating space for your emotional health to grow stronger. Solitude allows you to reconnect with your own truth, and that is a rare and powerful thing. The third benefit is a stronger sense of personal identity and independence. As we go through life, we often adopt roles: parent, spouse, employee, caregiver. Over time, we begin to define ourselves by how we serve others. But when you live alone, especially later in life, you are given a rare opportunity to rediscover who you are at your core. Without the influence of another person's preferences, emotions, or schedule, you start to remember your own. You notice what brings you joy, what you are curious about, and even what dreams you might still want to explore. This process is not just enlightening, it is empowering. Let's take Glenn, for example. He is 79, and after a long life running a business and raising a family, he found himself alone for the first time. At first he felt lost, but gradually he leaned into quiet. He picked up painting again, a passion he had set aside for decades. He joined a local art class, made new friends, and even started cooking meals for himself for the first time in years. He said living alone helped him remember the version of himself he had almost forgotten. That kind of rediscovery is not rare. It happens when we finally have the time and space to ask ourselves what we want without needing to consider others first. Living alone helps you realize that aging is not about becoming less. It is about becoming more. More honest, more focused, more yourself. The fourth benefit might surprise you: more meaningful social connections. Many people assume that living alone leads to isolation, but the truth is the opposite often happens. When your home is peaceful and your time is your own, you begin to make room for the people who really matter. You are not drained from constant compromise. You are not reacting to someone else's stress. Instead, you have the emotional bandwidth to choose who you connect with and how. You reach out not out of duty, but because you want to. You start spending time with people who lift you up, who make you laugh, and who understand you. This kind of intentional connection feels different. It is deeper. It is more sincere. Whether it's a walk with a friend, a phone call with a sibling, or attending a group you care about, those interactions become more nourishing. And they often last longer because they are built on mutual care, not just proximity. Mary is a great example. She is 81, and after decades surrounded by family, she now lives alone. At first, she worried it would be lonely, but over time, she found new joy in old friendships. She started a small book club with women from her church. They gather each month to talk about life, laugh, share stories, and offer support. Mary said those gatherings became more meaningful than the daily interactions she used to have. Not because she saw more people, but because she saw the right people. When you live alone, you are not cutting off connection. You are opening space for better connection. And that emotional shift can lead to greater happiness, stronger mental health, and even better physical health, according to studies on aging. And now we come to the fifth and final benefit: a safer and healthier home environment. When you live alone, you have complete control over your living space. You can arrange your home to support your body, your habits, and your comfort. This might sound simple, but it can make a big difference in how you feel each day. You decide how your home is organized. You choose where things go, how much clutter is allowed, what temperature feels good, and what lighting helps you relax. You can make practical safety adjustments like adding handrails, improving lighting, or removing trip hazards without needing anyone else's approval. This helps prevent accidents, supports your independence, and allows you to live comfortably for longer. And it is not just about physical safety. The emotional tone of your space matters too. When your home feels calm and predictable, it reduces anxiety, improves sleep, and helps you feel more secure. It becomes a sanctuary. Robert is 83, and after losing his wife, he downsized to a small apartment. He spent time creating a space that felt good. He chose soft colors and warm lights and kept things simple. He even created a little indoor garden by the window. He says watering those plants while sipping coffee is the highlight of his morning. That space helps him feel at peace. And studies show that when older adults feel in control of their environment, they experience less stress and greater happiness. Living alone can help you design a home that truly works for you, one that fits your life, your pace, and your preferences. When your environment supports you, everything else gets easier. Your energy improves, your mood lifts, and your confidence grows. Now, let's take a moment to reflect on everything we have covered. These 5 hidden benefits: daily freedom, emotional clarity, personal growth, better connections, and a supportive home might seem small on their own, but together they add up to something truly powerful. They remind us that living alone is not about being alone. It is about choosing how you want to live and who you want to become. Aging does not have to mean losing control. It can mean taking control. It can mean slowing down enough to hear your own voice again. It can mean living more intentionally, more joyfully, and more peacefully than ever before. So if you are already living alone or considering it, know that this path is not one of isolation. It is one of possibility. It is a chance to honor your own pace, protect your energy, and build a life that reflects your deepest values. Solitude can be a gift, and if you embrace it fully, you might just find that your golden years become your most empowered years. We would love to hear your thoughts. What stood out to you today? How do you see solitude in your own life? Share your reflections below and let us know how this message resonates with you. Your voice matters. Thank you for being here with us, and we look forward to connecting with you again soon.